Welcome to History for Cocktail Parties. My name is Thornton Kennedy.
And I'm James Ottley.
In this episode, we are tackling one of the most historically significant cities, not just in the United States, but I would argue in the world.
Absolutely.
Where are we going, James?
New Orleans.
You ever been to New Orleans?
I sure have. Been there for Mardi Gras a couple times.
Tell me the story.
For what I remember, I was exactly. I was in college. I was heading to the gym. Saw these guys packing their car. And I asked them where they were going. They said, we're going to Mardi Gras. I said, we got one extra space. You want to come with us? I said, yeah, sure. So went back, got a toothbrush, $20 for gas, and hopped in the car. And the rest was history, as they say.
That might be the best Mardi Gras story I've ever heard. Let me just grab my toothbrush.
Yeah, I can't tell the rest of them.
I love New Orleans. I love the food. I love the music, the bars, Pat O'Brien's.
Yeah.
Where the hurricane was invented.
Absolutely.
One of the best museums in the United States, the World War II Museum, is in New Orleans.
You know, I did not know that.
I'm probably the only person who goes to New Orleans and went to the World War II Museum. But they have a B-17 flying fortress hanging from the ceiling, and it's one of the coolest things you've ever seen.
That is really cool.
That's
awesome. Really cool.
New Orleans not only has that awesome local culture, but it's also global because it was originally colonized by the French. The Spanish took over for a while.
That's right.
Then the French came back.
They did.
And then the Louisiana Purchase.
That's right.
Which essentially doubles the size of the United States with a single stroke of a pen.
And we'll talk about this, but almost lost to the British 12 years later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We'll cover that.
So our cocktail for our History for Cocktail Parties, and I'm probably not going to pronounce this correctly, it's the Sazerac.
I thought it was going to be the hurricane.
It was going to be the hurricane, but, there's some sensitivities there. So we're just going to stick with the Sazerac, which is the cocktail of New Orleans. Let me tell you all how to make one. In case you'd like to join us, take a glass, rinse it with some absinthe in a separate glass, sugar cube, bitters, a couple ounces of rye whiskey, and then you swirl that around, put that back into the glass with the absinthe, lined with absinthe. Little lemon peel on top, and you are off to the races.
Cheers. Now, you're the only one having one of those today. How is it?
It is absolutely delicious.
Fantastic.
And let me tell you.
Looks great.
It's nothing but rye whiskey. So hopefully this is a single episode. Yeah. It's one of the oldest cocktails in America.
I love it.
I know. History for Cocktail Parties, always educating. Before we get started, always like to say a word about our partners' play. History is full of lessons learned, and one of the big ones is that those who don't take action get run over by those who do. Play is a full-service ad agency that helps brands find their spark or reignite it. Their team of creative, quote, players, end quote, turns bold ideas into action with smart strategy, design, and digital know-how, helping new businesses launch strong and established ones move forward with fresh energy. Ready to grow your business? Get a free marketing consultation today at goplaydesign.com. That's goplaydesign.com.
And we truly appreciate your support.
So where do we start with New Orleans?
Hey, you've got this one. Let's hear it.
I start with geography.
Let's do it.
The Mississippi, the mighty Mississippi.
The mighty Mississippi, the old man.
New Orleans is on the youngest land in the United States.
I love it.
Because it sits on sediment.
Yeah.
It's just sediment from the Mississippi River. It's 70 feet below sea level.
And one of us was going to look up how much water they have to pump out of there.
I actually looked that up.
Good.
Because they have hundreds of these pumps underneath the city. And they have one that is capable of moving 19,000 cubic feet of water per second.
That is amazing. I think I read that it was something like akin to something that the Ohio River moves in the same amount of time.
And when we were there, it was raining and the water was coming up out of the,
oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it rains in reverse in New Orleans.
Nuts.
The father of New Orleans is a French-Canadian colonial administrator, but he was really a Navy guy. He was a soldier. His name is Jean-Baptiste Moyne, Sieur de Bienville.
That's actually pretty good.
Thank you. As my French friend over there.
Yeah.
He arrives in New Orleans area as a teenager with his brother, who is a naval captain. His name is Pierre de Moyne d'Iberville, and he becomes governor of Louisiana at just 21 years old. Let me start with one of the great stories.
I love this
about
one.
de Bienville.
You mentioned this to me. This is awesome.
Fantastic. Very interesting story of Bienville. And we'll just refer to them by Bienville,
Sure.
or last name.
Yeah.
So when he is 19 years old, they're exploring the territory. He and his brother have established a few colonies upriver. And he and 4 other men, 2 canoes, are floating down the Mississippi looking for various sites. And they come across a British warship with cannons ready to go.
Yeah.
Bienville boards the British warship,
Okay.
gets up there, addresses the captain.
Bond.
The captain's name is Louis Bond.
Louis Bond.
And he tells Bond that this is French territory, that there is a fort right up the river. It has cannons, it has soldiers, and they are prepared to defend the French territory. This causes the British captain to turn the boat around, and that area to this day is known as the English Turn.
Come on, really?
And here's the kicker.
I can't wait. Yeah.
He was lying.
Yeah.
He was bluffing. There was nothing up the river. There was no fort. There were no cannons. And you talk about a bluff that changes the course of American history.
I love it.
It is absolutely fascinating. Now, Louis Bond
would that almost be like a butterfly
flapping its wings? Louis Bond was not unfamiliar with Bienville because he had fought his brother in a pitched naval battle years earlier and lost that battle and had been taken prisoner by Bienville's brother.
No kidding.
And so he
Small world, right?
He didn't want any of that smoke.
Yeah.
He knew what his brother was capable of doing.
Once bitten, twice shy.
This brash young Frenchman that ends up actually identifying the city of New Orleans. And the first one that writes, there is a place very favorable for the establishment of a post with one of the finest crescents on the river. Crescent City.
There you go.
That's how it comes by. He was born in Montreal in 1680. Joined the French Navy, as I said, when he was 12 years old, served under his brother. He's the one who names it Nouvelle-Orléans after Philip II, who was kind of the Prince Regent of France. The King of France at the time was Louis XV, and he was a child.
Yes.
And so Philip was the administrator, and he was the Duke of Orleans.
Duke of Orleans.
Orleans. We know the American Indians were already on the site.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the French market that's in New Orleans it's been there forever. It was there before any Europeans got there, and Bienville builds relationships with these natives. He's one of the first Europeans to learn the native language.
Oh, no kidding.
He's the governor.
Oh, yeah.
And he knows how to speak their language.
That's pretty cool.
But way more...
It's kind of like George Bush speaking Spanish back in...
Exactly. But way more importantly, not more importantly, but way more way cooler, he gets tatted up like the natives.
No way.
Right. He's got these tats all over himself. He's got the Virgin Mary. He has a huge cross. He has this signature snake that goes across his torso.
That's one cool governor right there.
Right. The American Indians revere him.
I bet.
Because these tattoos are a status symbol, right? They're for warriors, and they show you how powerful you are.
Right.
When they march into war together, he strips his shirt off.
Yeah. Of course
and goes bare-chested up there with the natives, and they freaking love him. So he develops these really important relationships with the American Indians.
Does that come into play later with the French-Indian War, perhaps?
I imagine it does. We'll have to get to that. Yeah, it might be the case. Not all good. He was corrupt. He had a lot of accusations of not being a very good dude, but I think it's a pretty great story. In 1762, there's this secret treaty of Fontainebleau, which nobody knew about. It's the end of the 7 Years' War.
I'd never heard of it.
And who knew? And France very quietly cedes New Orleans and Louisiana to Spain. And this is one of the crazier chapters in New Orleans history, in my professional opinion.
Yeah.
Which is that this Spanish governor, Antonio Ulloa, shows up with a bunch of troops and just announces that this is now under Spanish control.
Right.
Which the colonists do not take well.
Yeah.
They don't, it's a secret treaty. They don't know that this has happened. And they immediately do not take well to him. He makes a couple of critical mistakes. Number one, he really restricts trade. But more importantly, he outlaws French wine.
Oh, my God.
I know, right?
That's not the first thing you do if you're trying to make friends with the populace.
Unsurprisingly, the French colonists rise up against him, 1768, and he flees. He has to leave the city or he's going to be killed by these
These very upset people.
Very upset. They want their French wine, right? And but that sets up the arrival of Alejandro O'Reilly, who goes down in history as Bloody O'Reilly.
Okay.
What are the couple things you noticed about Alejandro O'Reilly? Doesn't sound very Spanish.
No, it's kind of Irish to me.
It's kind of like he's a hybrid. He's got a little Irish. He's got a little Spanish in there. He's basically an Irish mercenary who works for the Spanish government.
Okay.
But he comes down. They send him in there to restore order. 1769, he arrives with 2,000 troops, 24 ships. He's not going to take anything off of these French colonists. He is going to restore order and take the territory for the Spanish crown.
Right.
He gets the name Bloody O'Reilly because, allegedly, he invites the insurrectionists and says, look, I want to hear your grievances.
Yeah.
And so they come over. He doesn't even hear the grievances. He opens the back door, leads them into a courtyard, and executes them and restores order.
It's like a scene out of Game of Thrones.
It really is. That's not what happened at all.
Oh,
but
really?
There's actually a plaque here where they executed the French patriots and martyrs. Mm-hmm. The reality is that he tried them. They had lawyers. There was a public trial. They were found guilty of insurrection. I believe there were only 6 of them. They were all executed for their role in the insurrection. Everyone else involved was pardoned. And he restores the city. He fixes all of the things that had gone wrong previously and actually ends up being a really important administrator, which brings us to one of the more interesting elements of the Spanish rule.
Yeah. You're talking about the French Quarter?
The French Quarter isn't French.
Yeah, it's not. It's Spanish. It's and the reason for that is because during that time that Spain was ruling this area, as we said, it was founded by the French, but governed by Spain from 1763 to 1800. And again, this was after the French Indian War. This is one that Britain, just a little context here, that Britain made us pay for with the stamp tax and the tea tax, which didn't go over so well. So, Spain's in charge here. There were 2 huge fires that burned down most of the city. There was one in 1788 that burned down about 80%. And then one in 1794, they rebuilt some of the city. There was one in 1794 which burned down the rest of it.
And if your city caught on fire, who would you call?
But before you even made that call, I would hope that you would be insured.
And you would hopefully have insurance from Sterling Seacrest Pritchard, one of the Southeast's largest privately held insurance brokers, and quite possibly the only agency brave enough to tackle everything from construction mishaps to healthcare misadventures, logistics to disasters, real estate whoopsies, and even ransom notes from hackers who apparently have never heard of two-factor authentication. When it comes to your home, your business, and all the weirdness life can throw your way, SSP has you covered, usually before you even realize you need it. For a friendly guide through, wait, that can actually happen, to, do I need a lawyer? Call 678-424-6503 or visit sspins.com. That's sspins.com. We very much appreciate your partnership, Sterling Seacrest Pritchard.
100%. 100%.
Now, the city has burned twice, 1788, 1794, and because all the buildings are constructed out of wood.
Well, they were. That's exactly right. But the Spanish, they had stricter building codes. And so they went back in if you wanted to rebuild, after to get your building permit, you had to rebuild with brick and stucco instead of wood because it was more fire resistant. You had to put on a tile roof instead of a wooden shingle. And so that's what gives the French Quarter, its character. And people think, oh, that's French. And they even point to the wrought iron balconies.
Right.
But that's actually from architecture from Spanish colonial times or styles. And so it's just kind of funny. People talk about the French Quarter, but it's Spanish.
It's Spanish. There are actually only 2 French buildings in the French Quarter.
No kidding.
Remarkable.
Yeah.
Simply insane. Now we'd have the Spanish are managing. They have Louisiana. They have New Orleans. I didn't mention who did we mention who Louisiana was named for?
We did not.
We did not mention that Louisiana is named for. Louisiana is named for Louis XIV. He's the one who sent the two brothers to explore the mouth of the Mississippi. King, by the time New Orleans is founded, he's dead.
Right.
And it's this whole succession thing, but the heir to the throne is a child.
Right.
And so that's Louis the 15th, and that's how.
Gotcha. That's interesting.
The Duke Orleans. So what happens next is one of those butterfly flapping its wings type of moments, and it actually ties into our episode on the Panama Canal. There is a secret treaty again where Spain cedes New Orleans and Louisiana back to France.
That's exactly right.
And the treaty is the
Treaty of San Ildefonso, which to me sounds like it's indefensible.
That's right.
You know, it's October 1, 1800. Interestingly, a little side note on this, Napoleon's envoy was instructed to demand not only the Louisiana Territory, but also the Spanish colonies of East Florida and West Florida.
Wow.
And 10 Spanish warships. Like Louisiana, that wasn't going to be enough. He wanted this other stuff too. Spain
he had a vision of having an empire across North America.
Yeah.
He was not just satisfied with what he had over in Europe.
Exactly. Same with Britain, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But Spain did not agree to the 10 Spanish warships or to Florida, but they did agree to cede Louisiana and 6 warships back to Napoleon. And historians have looked back and said, why did Spain do that? That's a pretty big loss. This was their really huge footprint for them in the New World, and the argument was that Spain really did not exercise effective control over this area.
Right.
Americans were already moving in, without permission and setting up camp. And so to them, it wasn't that big of a loss because they didn't have control over it anyway. They couldn't police it anyway. So that was kind of the flip side of it.
Yeah. And so what happens? Why does Napoleon come in and almost immediately decide to flip it over again and try to find a buyer? It ties into our Panama Canal episode.
It totally does. Almost sounds like a real estate flip, but
because Ferdinand de Lesseps starts constructing the Panama Canal in 1903, and what we said in that episode was,
or earlier than that, 1800s, 1880s,
late 1800s.
Yeah,
but it's 100 years prior.
Yes,
that the French have this horrendous experience. The main problem with constructing the Panama Canal was yellow fever
with the mosquitoes. Yeah. Well,
in 1803, as Napoleon is moving this army sort of into that vicinity, he hits Haiti.
Exactly right, and the mosquitoes. And you mentioned this actually in our Panama Canal episode. The whole reason for Napoleon wanting the Louisiana Territory, he wanted it as a supply base for their sugarcane. I think it was mainly sugarcane colony on Haiti, San Dominique. And in the 1790s, there was a huge revolt. They had the folks that lived there, they had enough of this colony business or colonization business. They had the Haitian Revolution. This was in the 1790s.
Yeah, right.
Napoleon sent tens of thousands of troops to try and put that down and retake and reestablish their colony. But you're exactly right. Yellow fever struck these guys down. They had no immunity to it.
It was anywhere from 25,000 to 50,000 soldiers.
Exactly. Basically, their whole army basically collapsed. They were not able to take their colony back or reestablish the colony of St. Dominique, Haiti. And so at that point, Louisiana was kind of worthless to them.
Well,
as strange as that sounds, it was kind of irrelevant to them.
My understanding is that money was a lot more. He needed to restock. He needed to rebuild up his military, and so
he didn't get that much for it, though. I mean, $15 million, but
he just needed to get away from that and to be able to usher his resources into something that's a little bit more sustainable.
Yeah, exactly. Close that chapter.
Just move on.
Indeed, and also I heard that he didn't want it to fall into the British hands. The British were in Canada, and there was a possibility that they might try and annex it. But
my understanding is that France kind of put a for sale sign up.
Is that right?
Anybody that was willing to buy it.
Yeah.
And along comes Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah.
Tommy J, the President of the United States.
Indeed.
And he commits one of the most Hippocratic, ever.
Want to retry that?
No. Enter Thomas Jefferson. In 1803, the U.S. purchases 828 million square miles for $15 million. To your point, not a lot of money. I mean, I would think that you could get 828 million acres for, get a little bit more money for that.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Maybe. But what's so funny to me about it is that Jefferson was just virulently anti-federalist. He hated Alexander Hamilton. He hated Benjamin Franklin and all of these guys that wanted expansive federal powers. He wanted to reduce federal powers as much as possible. And what does he do?
Well, yeah. Well, he does. Yeah.
He goes out and uses an executive order,
Yeah.
does not seek congressional approval, and buys Louisiana.
That's true. Although I want to push back a little bit on that, in that it was a little bit more nuanced than that, and the Senate did end up ratifying this treaty
After the fact,
24-7. Jefferson did not originally intend or want to buy the entire 828,000 square miles or 500.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. He was worried about access to the Mississippi River,
right,
and the port of New Orleans. The Western farmers depended on it. Spain apparently shut it down at one point. Kind of similar to Strait of Hormuz, shut it down, and it just created widespread panic and pandemonium. And he's like, this cannot happen again. And I think that we should talk about.
So it was against his better angels that he decided to go ahead and sign this agreement. He clearly, there was some regret. Because he does talk about changing the Constitution.
He does think about.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
He realizes that the Constitution, in his reading of the Constitution, you can only do what is specifically stated in the Constitution. There was nothing about this kind of purchase in the Constitution.
You're exactly right. He did not know whether it was legal or not. And it did cause him great concern and reluctance.
And we'll pick that up on our next episode. Tune in next time for our second part on the history of the city of New Orleans. We appreciate you listening. Give us a like, give us a follow, always comment, and we really appreciate you listening.